listening to Bill Martinez Live.
In the summertime, when the weather is hot, you can stretch right up and touch the sky. When the weather's fine, you got women on your mind. Have a drink, have a drive, go out and see what you can find.
Join us online at BillMartinezLive.com.
Well, however you connect with us, thank you for doing so. Go to BillMartinezLive.com for more information. If you want to drop me an email, we'd love to hear from you. Bill at BillMartinezLive.com. Bill Borchert is with us. He's the author of How I Became My Father a Drunk, and it covers all aspects of addiction and recovery. Also, screenwrote the nationally famous film My Name is Bill W., the most watched television movie ever made and nominated for an Emmy in 1989, starring James Warner and Jo Beth Williams. Bill is a successful author of books dealing with addiction and pain. He began his career working first as a reporter for one of New York City's largest daily newspapers and for a major media wire service, and creating syndicated shows for radio. He became a talent management executive, producing box office hits like Kansas City Bombers, Serpico, and the acclaimed Dog Day Afternoon, starring Al Pacino. Bill Borchert, welcome to Bill Martinez Live. How are you, sir?
Hey, Bill, I'm doing fine, and thank you for the invitation. Appreciate it. Thank you for those kind words.
Well, great to have you here. I mean, you're having all kinds of fun. You're, bouncing back and forth between New York and South Carolina. You're with 9 kids, 23 grandkids. I've got my 9th grandkid on the way. I'm here in Oahu right now. We're on baby watch, so
wow, great.
They induced labor on our daughter last night, and so we're waiting for the phone call any minute now.
That's fabulous, wonderful. All the best.
Thank you very much. So I got a ways to catch up with your 23, but how much fun is that? And you got 9 kids. You've been a blessed man.
God is good. Yeah.
Amen. So on this topic, how I became my father a drunk. Wow. I mean, that's a topic to unfold here, Bill.
Well, I do a lot of speaking around the country, and I'm sure you do also. And I was at a convention in West Palm Beach, and I happened to mention because there are a lot of gray hair in the audience. I started talking about my relationship with my dad when I was young, and how terrible it was because he was a terrible alcoholic. And but then he got sober, and I got sober, and we became very, very close. And the chairman of the convention later on told me, he says, I ought to put that into a book because it can help a lot of people. So I talked to my wife and my brother and sister and some other people, and they suggested the same thing, and that's how the book came about. And I'm glad I did it.
Well, and that's a tough thing, Bill, because you're opening up your life, and as you said, which I think speaks a lot of your character, is that you just didn't run with the idea. I mean, let's talk to the family. I mean, after all, my story is your story too. Is it going to be okay, right?
That's exactly right, and that's what I've been doing for the last 20 years is trying to help get out the word about that there is recovery from alcoholism and drug addiction, which is a plague in this country, and it's getting worse. Mm-hmm. It's not getting better. It really is. And and this book has gotten wonderful reviews. I'm so happy about that. The critics say it's not a downer. They say it's inspirational. They say there's a lot of hope, some tears, laughter, and especially the miracle of recovery. And it shows families and people in the families that there is a way out, and that's what we need to get the word out about. There is a way out. And people can find through recovery a life beyond their wildest dreams, is what I like to say.
Well, yeah, I mean, you've experienced it yourself, so you're a walking testimony. People can talk about a lot of theories, but you've lived it, and so you can speak from the heart of experience, no doubt. You note here, Bill, that 44 million alcoholics affect at least 8 others around them. Over 200 million people in need of help. I mean, wow, you're talking, 2/3 of the population, of the USA population here affected by alcoholism?
That's right, and most of them don't know what to do about it, Mm-hmm. And that's why I need to keep, and others need to keep writing about it, getting the word out about it, and that there is places to go. There's wonderful 12-step programs that can help with alcohol and with drugs, and all I got to do is look in the phone book or call the hospital or the health department or go to their church. Some churches know all about it, and find a solution to the problem. And It's incredible how it changes people's lives. It really is.
Well, I will say this, based on my experience, a little bit that it is, Bill, is that some people say, well, I can go to church, but you need to be discerning about it, because when you're looking, you're at that point where you're looking for an answer. You've got to really pursue that answer. And sometimes, churches, although we want to think churches are the answer to everything, sometimes they're not. In all fairness, I mean,
I agree.
So make sure that you're getting the right kind of, you ask the right questions and the answer, because it takes a while to get to that point. I've often said it's kind of like somebody drowning. If they saw that fight in them, you can't go in and save them, or you're both going to drown. They've got to really hit rock bottom, don't they?
And the reason for that, Bill, is that there's still a stigma attached to alcoholism and drug addiction. There's no stigma attached to cancer or heart disease because they're well accepted as a disease. But so is alcoholism and drug addiction. But there's a stigma. People are ashamed. They still hide alcoholics up in the attic or in the basement. It's crazy. But they have to reach that bottom. They have to have enough pain where they're willing to do almost anything to get well and the family to get well. Yeah.
And one of the contemporary thoughts and ideas that has come about, Bill, is the idea of tough love. And what I've determined is tough love is harder on the person who's not involved. I mean, not directly, is not the alcoholic. It's the other person. It's tougher on the ones that are detached from the direct intake of the alcohol, than it is on the other person, because it's a different worldview. It's a different reality that the alcoholic has than, let's say, for lack of a better term, the normal family or the consistent family unit. Is that the case? Is that what you see?
Oh, that's what I see all the time, and that's the way it was in my dad's family and in my own family. Because, the alcoholic and the drug addict, they wander around in their addiction, while the family is trying to figure out what's going on. They don't understand. They speak two different languages.
Yes, exactly.
And that's why sometimes the family, the wife or the husband or the children, they get sicker than the one that's addicted. Particularly emotionally, and spiritually, they lose hope. They get depressed. They don't know what to do. And when I said about going to church, I just meant to go for information, to find out where to go for help. Yeah.
No. I understand. I'm just. Believe me, I mean, I'm a Christian, and I believe that, I believe in the church and the power of the church, but I want people to have some discernment and understanding, because sometimes they might go to a church and go, well, Bill was off, both Bills were, they're knuckleheads here, that doesn't work. I want them to understand that not everybody has everything. Sometimes you got to ask more than one question from more than one facility, so keep looking. I mean, and you might even try, first of all, by praying and asking God to direct your steps so that you find the right church and the right people that are sympathetic, that have had a history in dealing with this, right?
You just hit it right on the head, We got to reach out and ask God, higher power, for His direction. But
exactly.
Here's the problem, Bill. When we get that sick, and when the families get that sick, they begin to lose faith. They begin to lose a relationship with God. They've prayed so much, so often, and nothing's happening, that they lose faith. But that's why I keep writing and I keep making movies about this. I try to keep getting the word out there, and that's why I wrote this book. It wasn't an easy book to write, I'll tell you that. It was but it was a book I believe that's needed for families to see that if they follow a 12-step program, they can find a solution to their lives and the lives of their loved ones.
Yeah. And Bill, what you're saying here is it's beyond the alcoholic. I mean, alcoholism affects the family, the basic foundation of the family unit, doesn't it?
It sure does. It sure does. It creates a disaster in the family unit. That's why there was a lady. The AA is a tremendous help to people, tremendous help, and so is Al-Anon. Al-Anon is for the families. It was founded by a lady named Lois Wilson back in 1951, and she suffered under her husband's alcoholism. He was the founder of Alcoholics Anonymous, Bill Wilson, and she realized that she was very sick from living with him. And so she put together a program called Al-Anon, and families should reach out to the Al-Anon program, and they can get a lot of help from that.
Well, as you say, there's lots of misinformation and, attempts to try to make this work, and understandably what family members go through. What are some of the, biggest myths here about alcoholism, Bill, that you try to clarify for people so that they have a fair shot at being successful?
Well, first of all, it's so socially acceptable. That's what makes the disease so insidious. Because people who can drink, there's only about 12% of people who become alcoholics because the bodily makeup is different. In other words, alcohol works differently in their bodies than it does with most people. And so most people say, well, why can't they just stop? Why can't they just have a few? Why can't they just, like as if you have control over it? It's just like saying when you get a tumorous cancer, well, why don't you just ignore it and just go on with your life?
Right.
Exactly. When you become addicted, that means you become powerless, and you cannot stop. Once you have the first drink, they say one drink is too many and 1,000 isn't enough. Now, it's very difficult to understand, and that's the problem. It's difficult to understand, and that's why you need to go to get information and to get help.
Well, Bill, thank you so much for, your faithfulness to pursue this, to educate other people. Again, we remind everybody of your book, How I Became My Father a Drunk.
And if you need any more information, can I just mention that I have a website?
Yes.
It's William Borchert, B-O-R.